This is Miss Sterner. Today we're going to do Lesson 17 in Module 6 from Eureka Math. So this is the first time I've done a video recording, so if it's not quite graceful, please bear with me. Okay, so our objectives today. Our content objective is I can draw symmetric figures using distance and angle measure from the line of symmetry. And our language objective is I can explain how I know figures are symmetric using complete sentences. Okay, so for our warm-up, let's start with an application problem. You are going to need your application template, which is on page 121 in your math book. And if you don't have your math book, your parents can get that online for you. And then you'll need a pencil and a straight edge. So the straight edge could be a ruler, which I highly recommend if you do have one. If you don't worry. You can just use anything that'll help you draw a straight line, like the side of a book or something like that. Okay, so you are going to, number 1, plot the points 10, 8, and 3, 3. So remember, when you are plotting your points, the first number is on the x-axis. So you'll look on your horizontal line, the x-axis for the 10, and then you're going to go up the y-axis to find the 8, and then 3, 3, the same on both axes. And number 2, draw a line to connect the points and label them as C and D. And number 3, for C, you should label the 10, 8 as C, and 3, 3 should be labeled D. And then number 3, draw a line segment parallel to CD. So remember, parallel, they're going to be the same distance apart at every point on those two lines. So that way they're never going to touch, even if they were to continue on into space forever and ever. They're always going to be the same distance apart, so they are never going to cross paths. And number 4, draw a line segment perpendicular to CD. So if you remember, perpendicular is when you have two lines that meet to create 90-degree angles. So I'm going to pause here for a minute and let you do that, and then we'll get back on with answering, showing my answer to it. So I'm putting my timer on for a minute. Okay, so that was a minute. If you're not done, it's okay. Just pause this video and finish up, and then when you're done, you can just start it up again. Okay, so I'm going to move on over to the camera. There we go. So we can do this together, or you can check your answers. Okay, So I'm going to put an X here and my Y there. Okay, so I want 10. So here's my 10 on my x-axis. I'm going to go up to 8. So they meet here. And then I need 3, 3. So 3 and 3. And then I need to draw a line segment to connect those. Okay. And then I have to label 10, 8C and 3, 3D. And then I figured the easiest way to make a parallel line is if I just go diagonal to the next corner here, make a little dot from the D, and do the same for C, then I'll be able to make a parallel line. Okay. And then I need to make a perpendicular line to CD. So I'm just going to use this point here, and I need to make sure that my ruler is straight so I can make a straight line. Okay, so there I have a perpendicular line. I'm going to draw these little squares to show that those are right angles. Okay, so that's what yours should look like. It would have been okay if you had drawn your parallel line on the top, but then your perpendicular line would have come down the bottom. So either way is fine. It didn't say which direction you had to go for your parallel line or your perpendicular line. So I'm going to switch back to our slides. Okay. So for our lesson, we're going to use our math book, and we're doing the problem set for lesson 17. So since we're practicing that together, when you do your independent work, it's going to be the homework pages. Okay? So turn to that. Okay, so here's my math book. And the first one says, draw to create a figure that is symmetric about AD. Okay, so this is AD, and I need to make this shape on the other side perfectly like a mirror. So if when I'm all done and I cut it out and I fold it up, then they'd match up perfectly. So don't know that I'll be able to do it perfectly, but I am going to do my best. Okay, so I am going to measure, so from B to my line A, I have like 3 centimeters and a tenth. So I am going to measure straight. Okay, so 3 centimeters, that's 1, 2, 3 and a tenth. Right here. Let me see, make sure I'm drawing it at the same height. Okay, so right there. Okay. Then I need to do the same thing with C. So it is also 3 centimeters and a tenth. So let's see. Am I 3 centimeters and a tenth? Okay, so then I'll draw my line from D to this new point. I drew. Oops, didn't get all the way. There we go. And then draw from A to my new point, and then I'll draw from my point to my other point. So that's pretty good. Okay. So, hopefully you're following along. Now this next one it was really challenging for me the first time I did it, and the second time, and the third time. So, now, since this line is diagonal, to make a symmetric figure on the other side is a little trickier. So it says, draw precisely to create a figure that is symmetric about HI. So here's HI. And so this is where my measuring comes in, but if you don't have a ruler, you can use like your finger, go like, oh, it's to a knuckle, or oh, it's the size of my fingernail, or whatever. So this, I measured this L from the line is like 1 centimeter and about 6/10. So I'm trying to think, like, since this is diagonal, I'm going to have to set this kind of diagonal, so then I am doing like 1 6/10. So I'm going to put my point here. Okay, and then, so I can draw a line from here to here. Okay, so we have our bottom. And then from L to our top line, measure that. So that is 1 centimeter and about 3/10. Okay, 1 centimeter and wait, was that right? 1 centimeter and 3/10. Yeah, okay. So about here. Okay, so then we measure this line, H to J is 4 centimeters. So I am going to draw 4 centimeters long through that point. Okay, now from J to K, it is 2.5 centimeters. Yay, no tenths there. Okay, and so we go right here, and then we'll draw a line to connect our dot that was symmetric to L, and one that's symmetric to K. So it may not be perfect, but I think it's pretty good. So hopefully you were able to do something like that. If you need more time, make sure you just push pause and we can get back to it. You can get back to us when you're ready. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next problem, number 3. This was a little confusing at first too. So I think something, okay, well, I'll read it and then explain. It says, number 3, complete the following construction in the space below. So A, plot 3 non-collinear points D, E, and F. Collinear. Sorry, I'm thinking kitchen stuff. Not a colander, it's collinear. Okay, and B, draw DE, EF, and DF. Okay, so DE is a line segment, as you can tell from the little line above it, and EF is a line segment, as you can tell from that line above it, and then DF is going to be a line. So going on forever and ever and ever. And then C, plot point G and draw the remaining sides such as that quadrilateral DEFG is symmetric about DF. Okay, so first they want me to make some points. Okay, so I'm going to put one here, here, here. So it says non-collinear. Okay, so if it is linear, that means a line. If it's collinear, that means the points are on the same line. If it's non-collinear, that means the points are not on the same line. So that's how I came about drawing those points where I did. Okay, so draw line segment DE. Okay, well first I have to label them. So I'm making this D, and this one E, and that one F. Okay, so I'm going to make a line segment connecting D and E, and a line segment connecting E and F, and then D and F are going to be on a line. It can just go all the way off your page if you want. But I'm just going to do the little arrows so we know it's a line that goes on forever. And next it says plot point G and draw the remaining sides such as quadrilateral DEFG is symmetric about DF. So I need to make my G symmetric with my E. So I'll measure that, 2 centimeters. And wait, I should go straight from that line. Okay, so I'm finding 2 centimeters, if you want to be precise there. Okay, so 1, 2. So I'll put my G about right there. Okay, and then they want me to make a quadrilateral, so a 4-sided figure with straight sides. So that means I need to draw the lines to make it a quadrilateral. Okay, so that's what mine looks like. And yours could look different depending on where you put your D, E, and F, but that gives you an idea. Okay, so next, number 4. Stu says that quadrilateral HIJK is symmetric about HJ because IL equals LK. Use your tools to determine Stu's mistake. Explain your thinking. Okay, well, looking at that, I can see this side looks thinner than that side, and it seems to me that this side is shorter than this side. So if I were to measure JK, I see that it is 3 centimeters. And if I measure IJ, that isn't 3 centimeters like it says. It really is like 4.5 centimeters. So that's not true. That's 4.5 centimeters, and this is 3 centimeters. Okay, so that tells me right away it's not symmetrical. Okay, so what we need to do is explain Stu's mistake. So Stu was thinking that just because I to L and L to K are the same distance from each other, that it's symmetrical. So it looks like it's 2.5 centimeters and That's about 2.5 centimeters as well. But the thing is, the line they have it on is diagonal. And so that makes it a lot harder to be symmetrical. And we can just visually see this side's thinner than that side, so it's not symmetrical. It's not a mirror image from one side of the line to the other. So we'll need to write. Okay. So everything has to be the same size, like we were doing in our last problem. So we can write that, okay, so okay, so even though LK is equal, IL is equal to LK, the figure is not symmetrical. And I say, because IJ is not equal to JK, and we could and then if you're thinking about angles too, they would have to have the same angles. So this looks like an obtuse angle, greater than 90 degrees. And this looks like an acute angle, which is less than 90 degrees. So that's also something that we could note here. And angle ILJ is not equal to, I had to put that angle symbol there so we know we're talking about an angle, JLK. Okay, so this is, since we're practicing this together, this would be a good thing for you to write. If you want to add more, that's great. But I want you to have some type of template for you to go off of when you're doing your independent practice in your book with the homework.